feel like you've worn a lot of hats. I think I first...
You're the only one wearing the hat, Steven. You do this. It's just so awkward.
Have I worn a hat before? Oh, I did wear a hat on one of the episodes. I didn't shower this morning, so I had to throw a hat on.
I thought I smelled something, man.
But you had Construction Brothers as the podcast. Yeah. You've kind of dabbled on the marketing, kind of storytelling side of things. Now you're I think how you and I recently interacted was you posted something on LinkedIn, which was really unique in terms of how you were using AI. That got me interested. So who is Tyler now, and what are you up to?
Yeah, man. So did I tell you the analogy that was used about a doula?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, so I had a client of mine. Yeah, no, go with me on this, Lars. This is fantastic.
I was like, so, how many crusty old superintendents know what a doula is?
I know. Go with me on this.
Okay.
So she was like, Tyler, it was one of my clients, and she was like, dude, you're like a doula. You're like a tech doula. And I went, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, that's so good. So a doula, for those of you that don't know, it's like a person that helps
into detail.
Helps your wife during labor, right?
Go into
all right. So what you do?
No, it's
when the baby is coming. Now, okay.
It's the preparation, right?
Yeah,
it's the at-home experience to create this oh my gosh!
It's the support.
It actually
it's
happened.
Like the cheerleader.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the support during the birthing process and leading up to that. All right. So I know it's a little bit weird.
Go on YouTube.
I am a doula. Yeah.
And search doula.
Don't do that.
That's terrible. Go on. Terrible idea.
Awful idea. But it was a really good explanation, a fun way of explaining what I do, which is just walking with people as they're adopting technology in their company. And so I focus that in on contractors. Specifically in the MEP side of the business, and then also up into the owner side of the business. But really, there's a lot of different solutions out there, and it can get confusing. And stepping in to say, what is the process first? What is it as it sits right now? And then from there, what are the technologies that we currently have? And then finding ways to optimize our process by either leveraging the existing technologies that we have, by getting some more training in there, maybe finding a new solution, propping up a database, doing some of the more technical type stuff, which, full disclosure, I'm a non-technical, I'm not a developer by trade. I'm a construction guy that's a nerd, right? And so I have just educated myself over time in this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, looking at things strategically to, make companies more money is really what I do. So I don't know. Is that a good way of explaining? I love the doula analogy because it's just it's a little bit of a
doula
shocker. You're like, what?
We've got the queen of prefab. Maybe you're the doula of Contech.
I swear, if that sticks, I'm gonna be like, oh boy, my wife is gonna be like, really, dude?
At some point.
Really.
So you asked for it.
I think we've talked to a couple kind of heads of innovation or directors of innovation in the past who have and I've experienced this myself. Just the internal friction between status quo, future state, and how you get there. Do you feel in this role, or maybe you're approaching this as more of a support or a consultant, does that allow you to overcome that friction, or do you still feel that?
Oh, I mean, there's always going to be friction, obviously. I mean, we're humans. So what I'd say to try to overcome some of that friction is approaching any innovation like you're a product manager, which is, a little bit more of techie speak for, doing the exploration with the people that would actually use the tool to understand what is valuable to them. And I think a lot of times that is lost internally at companies, right? You're not going to approach process or technology, especially if you're just kind of getting started in this sort of thing, you're not going to approach it like a product person. And a product person, a good one, will go in and ask a bunch of questions and just try to understand how everybody thinks. And so for me, it's not my role to come in and say, well, you need to do this because I'm, super smart and you should listen to me. That would be the stupidest thing that I could do. What I should do is go in and ask a bunch of questions of the people that know and understand where their pains are at and figure out how either a better process map would help them, or a technology solution could help them, or maybe some training could help them. And so it's just a little bit of a nuanced answer there. Is there friction? Of course there's going to be friction. Like, this is construction. People have opinions. But I think the thing that breaks that down is coming to people and saying, I don't know fully everything about what you do every day. Help me understand what you have going on in your life. And that breaks down the walls a lot easier. Yeah, it does take humility. There are quite a few technology people out there that are just like, they almost look down upon the people out in the shop or, out in the field. And that is annoying to me. I didn't want to be that guy because I was a steel detailer for 10 years. I felt that pain personally. And so coming to people with a level of respect and just realizing I don't know everything. Help me understand though. That's huge.
That is huge. Well, and I think one of the many reasons I was excited about this conversation was I think you have that experience working with some of these enterprises in terms of how to kind of fix these larger scale processes and workflows, but also, you're implementing this in terms of your personal tech stack in a really interesting way. And I think one of the things, like I mentioned, you posted on LinkedIn the use of Airtable, and I even forget, was it you had multiple different kind of marketing personas as skills, and I'm butchering the use case, but it was really interesting. And I think we're at this point where I think we have a small window of time to, as individuals, be high agency, use these tools, create leverage, create ownership, and you're really doing that in a lot of different ways. What kind of took you down this path? Were you early ChatGPT and you just kind of rode the wave this whole way, or what was your journey like?
Yeah, when I first started up the business, I was definitely using ChatGPT. Even in my other business, before I started this, I was using ChatGPT every single day and kind of learning the basics of prompting and just how it thinks. But then slowly over time, it escalated. It got out of control because one of the core things that I wanted to focus on within Fieldproof is not growing a business just based off of headcount purely. I wanted to grow it off of, we're providing value with as few people as possible because it's just me and it's a couple other people that assist me. Why would I not want to start there? That's great for my profit margins, right? So that was kind of the motivating factor. Is I didn't want to hire a bunch of people. And also I figured too, once I did get to that point where I could hire people, I had those systems in place and they had capacity.
If I may, because I want to ask, or clarify, I think, for the listeners, it's, you don't hate people.
No.
Right?
No.
Right. And nor is it I just want to, is it all for myself? Yeah, it's good for profit margins, but I think it goes more into, I want to deeply understand my business.
Yes.
I want to create structure, process, systems. Mm-hmm. So when the time is right, people plug in with little to no friction. Yeah. Because it's people in business can sometimes have conflict, but a lot of it is due to, I think, poor structure in the business.
Yes.
So I think the tools that are now available can create these almost limitless scale, process, system, structure. So when the time's right, you find an A player who lives your values, who lives your culture, and they plug in. Yes. It couldn't be more easy now.
An example of that is, in one of our conversations, you were walking me through, you were onboarding an assistant, right? Mm-hmm. And you spun up a web page using Perplexity to just kind of walk through what it is you do, who's Tyler Campbell, how you work with you and the business. Yeah. And it's man, that's such a better way than a series of hour conversations where you're trying to go through the nuances, right?
Or even a Google Doc, right? Like it just there's something a little bit more engaging about it, right?
Yeah.
It's a story instead of it being just a raw Google Doc of like, yeah, just go read that. Like my ADHD kicks in, man. I need colors and
how did you
things
survive as a steel detailer for 10 years?
Hyperfocus. straight up hyperfocus. That was the thing.
And how many people did you work around?
So I worked with my brother Eddie,
Okay.
who's 13 years older than me.
Okay.
I always
and
have
he
to
probably
bring that
brought you into it, didn't he?
No, my dad.
Okay.
So my dad started a BIM company in 2003,
Okay.
which is
The
pretty
father
wild.
of BIM, Mr. Campbell.
The
Father,
grandfather.
brother, doula.
Makes sense. Yeah, right. So, I mean, I got into that through my family. My dad started the company back in 2003, 3D modeling steel structures. And, I swore it off. I was going to go to Nashville and be a musician. Like, that was my path. Then I needed a paycheck and fell into it at 19.
Do you play the guitar?
I do, yeah.
Like a little bit of country?
Not really country. So I lead worship over at church. So, just kind of that sort of thing.
You do have kind of like a worship leader vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of
So
energy.
much energy. So much energy.
Hey, everybody, welcome to church. Let's go. Like, yeah.
Oh,
I would go to this
pastor.
service
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
What do you guys think about Jesus? All right, let's go. We're gonna do some communion.
That's good.
Yeah. Man.
So walk me through. Like, I think it would be interesting to understand. I think part of the conversation too is like this idea of B2C versus B2B, and you're kind of playing in both worlds.
Yeah.
As you go through and maybe work with an organization to kind of map out their processes and understand their needs, is that part of your messaging too? Is like, hey, if you're a superintendent of 15 years, like, are you start to digitizing elements of your expertise so you can build your own brain in Notion like you've done, or how what's your thoughts there?
I mean, they just got to start using it for one and kind of get used to some of the tools that are out there. But then the next step is kind of, having that second brain sort of situation. It's just a database. It's a clunky version of a database. I'm not going to sit here and try to make it any prettier than it is. What I have done is I've set up, and I think this kind of does answer that question in a way, maybe a little bit of a tangent here, Stephen. So you tell me where I need to go back and clarify. But one of the things that I started to notice whenever I was using these tools is that anytime a new tool came up, I would have to jump over and then give that new tool a ton of context, right? I would need to say, hey, ChatGPT, give me a big prompt that I can now hand over to Claude. And it's just this ping-ponging around that I didn't do anyway. I needed a way to have just kind of a foundational layer that could support me in the ping-ponging. Right. So that's where the Notion side of things, Airtable is where it started. And then it did move to Notion for reasons I can get into later. But I needed a foundation of all of these different elements, like conversations that I'm having. So like recording this, it's going to go back and log into my Notion automatically. So I'm going to have record of this conversation without me having to do anything crazy. But the good thing is now I can go into Claude and I can say, hey, I talked to Stephen and Lars today. CMO, I need you to create some content for me. And it'll say, okay, sounds good. It's got the context and it can create it. I could do that in either Claude or Perplexity. I could do that in ChatGPT if I wanted to. It doesn't matter. Because I have that foundation set, I can then go out to different things and try stuff. So I can set up an OpenClaw instance like we were talking about. Good grief. I mean, God forbid I want to use DeepSeek someday. I could go out and do that if I wanted to. Manus is another one that's been out there that was just acquired by Meta. That's another tool that I could use. It doesn't matter now because I have the foundational elements in the context. I can pull from that context pool and do other things with it. And so there's that kind of layer. And then there's the skill sets as well that I've built around that. All of that to say, for the superintendent, I think, and the project manager even, the tool set is changing. And I feel like the tool set you set up now within those tools can then be carried with you to the next job, right?
So the biggest question is should people be setting this up on their personal Gmail? Or is this a work email thing, right? Because when you think about carrying the skill set to the next
That's a good question. That's a good question.
When I think about setting this stuff up, I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different scenarios, and it's like, anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go.
Could I be?
Because
I think
there's a collaboration piece around, around the business, but then there's then there's just me, and that's not the business.
But I think you have to start with the foundational layer, and the foundation is what do you know, and what is your experience. And so I always took copious amounts of notes because I didn't trust my ability to recall what happened. Yes. Yeah. And so I think this is the 2026 version of that is your notepad has become this digital app called Notion, Evernote, pick one of them.
Whatever.
And then make sure that everything that happens is structured there. And it's your own personal login. Because that's you. It's your digital version of you.
Yeah. The business doesn't own it.
Right. And then you layer on top of that. If you're working with a business and you can extract from there and put into Procore.
Well, so what's interesting is, I appreciate that, right? So what I'm hearing you say is there's this foundational, like who is Stephen, who is Tyler, who is Lars, right? That's you. Agreed. Yeah. And then there's this component of like MEP company, Alpha Mechanical, Bravo Mechanical. Are you able to plug your personal instance to whatever they may have and sort of blend this at least while you're there working for that company?
Yeah, I think in a way, yes, that makes a lot of sense. And so it is a kind of a nuanced question because you do have contractors out there that are good with, using certain tools. Some of them just don't care what tools you use, whatever. But then there are others that do have like IT and all of these other things. And they're like, do not use this. This has not been confirmed by IT. And so then it's like you bring your second brain with you. Is it allowed? Can I plug into it? So that's where it gets weird.
So I don't want to get down this tangent.
No, let's go. I love tangents.
But this is a big one because everything here in the world of cybersecurity with construction is changing very rapidly because the federal government is implementing CMMC protocol, and now they're requiring third-party audits here by the end of the year. So they're putting out big contracts. Now, listen, I understand not everyone's a government contractor, but the crazy thing is that this flows down to subs, and it flows down to tier subs and suppliers. This has far-reaching effects. And just this instance of, well, can I use this or not? I don't know. But the problem is I'm far more productive when I can use it.
Yeah.
So why am I not allowed to use it? And so I'll tell you what's happening. People just go home and use it.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing.
Yeah. Or they're using their personal profiles to use.
Yes. That's sort of what I mean.
Phone,
yes.
They're using it.
Of course. And as an owner, I want my people to have a 10x capability. Yes. They're just asking it a question. It's not like some super secret motor rocket, engine, schematic. Like, what are we doing?
What's interesting to me is, and I heard somebody talk about this, so I can't take full credit. And if I knew who it was, I would shout them out. But they were talking about like 3 different types of companies. The first company is, a 500 person company that they, or 1,000 person company, just for easy round, 1,000 person company, and they adopt AI. Second one, another 1,000 person company, they adopt AI. And then the third one is like a startup, like me, like young, couple people, that sort of thing, right? Yeah, super easy to adopt AI. Which one's going to win?
It's a small one.
No, it's the company that is 500 or 1,000 people that upskills every single one of those 1,000 people, because what they end up with is like 10,000 people worth of capacity.
Okay.
It's a little bit interesting.
Well, that was under the assumption that because I hear company adopts AI. Yeah. It's like, okay, what does that even mean? You think 1,000?
Right.
Okay, got it.
So
sure.
Imagine in a perfect world scenario.
It's the force multiplier.
Yes.
Right. That's why I believe we'll call it the 1,000 person company that is very slow to adopt, right? And maybe not fully versus here's a 5 person company or 10 person that's moving fast, right?
I do think that's one of the flaws in some of the underlying kind of models around AI adoption or integration is that the typical kind of statistics around change management are not applied, right? Like typically when you implement something new, whether it be a process or software, adoption is going to follow that kind of typical curve of early adopters, and I forget the other ones. But the point is, I think while that's true, if it works out, I think we have enough history in the industry to understand that adoption curve of AI is probably going to be 20 to 30%, not 60 to 80%. Right? And so I think that's where, if we look across the landscape of contractors, it's a lot easier to be small and to kind of create new culture rather than pivot the Titanic in the thing.
Not saying that the logic, like if it is just face value, surface value, oh yeah, you have 1,000 people and they're all enabled by AI, and now you have 10,000 people worth of capacity. That's still a difficult thing. Don't get me wrong. That's not easy. So Lars, to kind of your point with the smaller company, they're nimble. They can just move. They can just start from ground and build up. So like there are advantages to both sides, but really if you think about like who could really make some waves, it would be the company that's large that could adopt AI at scale and upskill every single one of those people. They would kill it.
That's the opportunity. Right?
It is the opportunity.
All these big guys, that's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Where
I
think we're in this like super interesting time in history, because historically, construction companies just haven't been the best at adopting technology, right? And I think you're now, one, you've heard it, you've seen it, you're experiencing it, but you're also diving deep into companies, helping them do that, right? But this whole idea of all of a sudden, is the culture across the entire industry going to somehow change? No. And so I think yes, there will be. I think there will be the too big to fail, right? They're just gonna force it, right? They're so big, they're just gonna make it work. I believe there's small startups that people always wanted to do it, now have the capacity to do it because they're tech leaning forward. Like you, you're like, I'm just curious. I got the foundation. I'm going now. Yeah. And then I think there's going to be this large tranche in the middle that's like stuck. Yeah. And it's going to get really interesting. I don't know where they go yet, but I think there'll be a tranche in the middle that's just like left behind.
I think, and oh gosh, man, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in trouble. This
is the podcast to do that, Tyler.
What the heck? I'm going to send it. With these tools, I know that owners are looking at ways to basically build up the systems and the processes themselves. And I'm talking bigger owners here, not smaller ones.
Oh, this is going to be good.
To basically remove GCs.
Heck yeah. Why do I need a GC?
Why do I need them? Yeah. Why do I need them? That is the structure of construction right now that I think if you're not paying attention to this, you need to be very careful. You're at risk. This isn't hype. Isn't hype. You need to be very careful.
Well, it goes back into what value do you provide, right?
Right.
Because if it's simple coordination, I'm seeing developers who are getting squeezed by rising costs who are like, I'll just go hire a superintendent. I'll use the superintendent's GC license and I'll go build the 18-story tower. Right. Done. And it's like, wait a minute, RFIs, submittals, pay apps, we can manage that. It's easy.
What's the reason for a GC? It's because we have a broken process.
Right.
It's hard. Now, what I'll say is this. For owners that are not doing like a bunch of work, okay, maybe a GC makes some sense. But I'm saying for like some of these hyperscalers, they're building so much and throwing out so much freaking money. Yeah. They have the ability to do it.
In-house capability they do.
Yes.
I mean, I'm trying to think of ways to stick up for the GC, and I think the traditional arguments are like risk avoidance, right? Yes. That like risk management layer. Yes. That, to your point, they really play this like communication hub role. But when we look at what AI can do, in theory, it can also fix this like incentive misalignment issue that GCs attempt to try and resolve. But if they can go direct and leveraging AI still get a layer of expertise kind of added into these different workflows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some opportunity there.
All right, sponsor break. Lars, real quick. When was the last time you got a new set of drawings from an architect and they didn't cloud anything?
Well, the one that cost me a couple $100,000 was back, I think, in 2017. So, yeah, lesson learned there.
Yeah, so what I like about what Trick Tools is building is they're looking at tools to help kind of remove the mundane from the job site. And I, same as you, every time there was a bulletin or an addendum, I would go back to designers and ask them to at least highlight or give me a cover letter on the changes. And that was always like pulling like teeth. But Trunk Tools is now automating that. So you get a bulletin come in, it automatically highlights the changes. You don't have to do a thing.
Well, it's also hitting RFIs, right? It's also hitting submittals. And when we think about standardizing ops, right, and providing that, sort of resource to those field operators, what I see it as, it's sort of like this like mentor within the company that structures, standardizes, keeps it moving in the right direction, looks out for risk. And just this last week, I had a QC manager just pass along a submittal to an owner without doing a review because he was too busy, and it was wrong. And the classic owner statement is, did you even review this? Right? So this to me is carte blanche. We absolutely did. And think about getting that first pass before your field manager ever even actually has to do the first pass. Someone's doing it for them. So to me, it's about speed. It increases accuracy and helps standardize ops out in the field, right?
Yeah, and this is the kind of AI that we've talked about on the podcast, really appreciating, right? Which is looking at ways to elevate the craftsman at the heart of project delivery.
Give me time back so I can be out in the field managing risk, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So, all right, if you're a little curious, check it out, trunktools.com/podcast. And if you mention Construction Conversations, you get a discount.
Discount. Demos are free, and and you guys get a discount. So let's go.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, guys, like that's the reason why I focus in on the MEPs and the owners with my company. Like, because I think a lot of GCs have gotten fat and happy. And I think owners are starting to take notice. And honestly, I think a lot of these MEPs would be just fine going and working direct with you, and they already are. Yeah. And so it's that extra layer there of like, do we really need it? And I'm not sitting here saying that AI is the magic bullet that makes a GC just completely go poof. No, it is. People are becoming aware of the broken processes, and AI and some of these new innovations are allowing us to fix processes at such a rapid pace.
Yeah.
That I think that a lot of owners that I'm seeing are like, they're thinking about this and they're leveraging tools like AI to get the job done faster so that they can, streamline the communications. And like, it's just a matter of time, dude. So you need to be paying attention to how am I driving value to my customers beyond just being a paper pusher, right? Because that's a lot of GCs. They're freaking project pilots. Okay. And using my grandfather's term, I take paper from one side of my desk and I pile it over here. Project pilot. Something I grew up with. That is what a lot of companies do. And if that is you, be forewarned. You need to step it up.
There's probably a handful of PMs and supers who are listening to this kind of in the daily grind of just chaos, right? And they're probably wearing a GC hat, and they're thinking, man, if I'm not absorbing this chaos, who would be? Yeah. And so I think to your point though, it's almost that is current state. Yeah. And I guess let's tease that thread. What would this future state look like?
I think they just move upstream.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they go away. They don't go away. They just move upstream. And that's the thing is you're just being contracted by the owner rather than or being hired by the owner rather than being hired by a larger GC.
I'll say it slightly differently.
Yeah.
With the tools that are now available, the owner can gain that level of competency and basically with the staff or with the talent that exists out there, those individuals come in there and perform, right? Yeah. And so now all of a sudden it's like, I'm buying the super, I'm buying the PM, I'm retaining that gross margin, right? And oh, by the way, we have all the knowledge base to go execute this ourselves.
Well, and it's also a data play too, right? My data is mine. It's not the GC's. The GC's not sitting there collecting my data. And so that's another element that I'm seeing is like, where does the data live and how many hands does it get to?
Well, in that reality too, it also allows for actual real impact to be made by the people with the experience and expertise. Because you're upstream, maybe it's before anything's been built, anything's been poured. I think that the challenge, and I was a PM for a number of years, the challenge was always you're handed this estimate that you really didn't have too much involvement in at times. And you're just told to do it. And we've all seen that curve. Like you have about 10% of the opportunity to affect the outcome of a project through project delivery and execution. And so if all of that talent that is right now handling the chaos of what is a job trailer on the GC end, and that's moving upstream into pre-con, into better design management, like that's great for everyone. That's better for everyone.
It is better for everybody, for sure. Like I don't get me wrong. I don't think this is going to just like happen overnight, but I do think that the
2027.
Let's
make it.
Gonna happen.
It's already happening. I had friends who were working for Tesla, building some of the factories down there in Austin.
Yeah.
And some Navy buddies, and they basically said that the local labor force couldn't support them. So they just so they started self-performing as many trades as possible because they could then control the schedule.
Yep.
And when I heard that, I was like, wow. But on that, whether you call it hyperscale or those just massive behemoths, I mean, yeah. Your control, you're so large, you can grab, right? Yeah. So large. To defend, I think a component, we'll call it of the construction market. Those smaller projects, renovation projects, active facility, logistically challenging. Who knows what that is? But I can see, that being a long ways away. But the mega scale projects, yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, 1% to 2% on one of those projects is pretty sizable. Yeah. That's not nothing. And
it's not nothing.
It's the
and you want to know what?
Yeah.
Keep it as an owner contingency then. Right.
Yeah.
It's like that's what they're thinking. Like, I'll just go manage it.
So let's
Tyler, that was very, very dangerous of you to bring that up.
I mean, we've danced around. Well,
that topic. You know me. I like to
live
dangerously.
Yes, you do. Jesus.
I am. All right. So we're gonna take communion now. Pray over the construction industry. You guys with me? All right. Let's go.
Yeah. So I think it would be interesting to talk through what like AI native looks like for field proof, and you and I have chatted a bit about this, but this like low overhead business model, I think everyone should have a side hustle of some variety, if just not as a means to try things, right, and test things and fail a little bit. Yeah. So walk me through, like you started Field Proof, you're working with a company, you don't have anyone but you. I guess your wife supports you as well. You guys, it's kind of like a family business.
No. It's me, and then I've got an executive assistant, and then I've got a couple other people that are contractors that work with me to make sure that we're bringing value in multiple ways. And so, a small business, but when I first started it was, I'd come out of a company that was very just cash flow was rough. It was hard. It was contracting. Like it was tough. And I just got to a place where it's like, I want to wait as long as humanly possible before I hire that first person. And that meant that I just had to work really smart on how I did things. And what I figured was exactly what I said earlier. It was like, if I can do that, then when I do hire somebody, then I just gave that person rocket fuel, right? Because I gave them a playbook, I gave them tools, I gave them all sorts of stuff that they can leverage and hit the ground running. And that person needs to be an AI native as well. So that's kind of a demand that I have, is like you need to know AI and you need to leverage it. And so, man, I think growing the business right now, it's just a matter of how many things can we get done with as few people as possible? Because every single time you add in a new head, then that is kind of a chain, a link in the chain that can break. And I'm trying to mitigate as much risk as I possibly can there. And so that's kind of where this whole second brain whole idea started to develop for me. And so it was really interesting is since I set up that second brain, whenever I did bring in my executive assistant, all I had to do was just plug her into it.
Plug it in. Like, this is your operating system.
Exactly.
Right here, every day, live here.
Yeah. So it has all my daily logs in it. It has all of my phone calls that I've done, everything in my calendar.
Hold on. You just said something that just blew my mind. You still keep daily logs?
No, they're automated.
But you keep daily logs?
Yeah.
You're not on site, but you're keeping daily logs.
Yeah,
Amazing.
of course. It's automated. I don't have to think about it because if I want to know what I did last week on Thursday, I can know.
I copied that from you, Tyler. I now have that too. It is so cool.
Yeah. It's an automate, like it's super easy. Like you get in the clock, you can set up on a schedule. Done. Like it's super easy to scrape.
So Lars, it pulls from Granola, which is like the transcripts, right?
Is Granola working with Chrome and like Windows yet?
I don't know if it is. You can use Notion.
Lars is still on Bing, Tyler.
No, I'm not on freaking Bing. That's not it. No.
No, it does. I mean, it doesn't work with Outlook. But like, I just it pulls up throughout the day whenever I'm having a meeting.
So I have Notion now actually running this stuff, which is kind of hilarious. So I was using Granola, and then Notion came out with their version of a meeting transcription.
Really?
Tool.
Okay.
Yes. And so now I'm kind of running both of them and testing, seeing which one works. But what?
So now you have two meeting assistants joining a meeting.
Yeah.
By the way, it's like we need like a recording thing off to the right, just so I can see people, not the AI fathoms and read.ai.
Seriously, I got sick of that. I was like,
it's so brutal.
It's awful.
It's so
like,
bad.
let me let your assistant in here real quick. Like that was the token line
so
for
bad.
I feel like.
I know.
So yeah, now I've got it running in Notion, but so it just goes directly into the brain, and my EA can see every conversation I have, and so there's a lot of transparency there for sure. So that's a little bit nervy, I guess, for some people. For me, I'm just kind of like, I'm an open book, whatever, ask me. Here you go. That actually reduces a breaking point for me though, because I had Granola. Claude would scrape from Granola. It would scrape from Gmail. It'd scrape from Google Calendar. It would scrape, one or two other things too, I think, from a note, and it would push it all up into a daily log automatically. And so that's all just a Claude automation. So I basically can remove one part of my Claude automation because it's just directly in Notion. But the good thing is I can move this over to Airtable again if I wanted to. It's not hard.
Yeah.
So I've got it all collected. It's not difficult.
Hey guys, if your experience was anything like mine when I was a PM, change orders were kind of a pain. You send the change order, then you spend the next 2 weeks chasing it. Subs are texting you updates. Meanwhile, you have a change order log buried in email. Your spreadsheet doesn't match theirs, and you're just trying to figure out what's actually been approved. Meanwhile, your subs are waiting on answers so they can get paid. The owner doesn't really have the visibility they need into cost exposure, and nobody finds out that the numbers don't reconcile at all until closeout. At which point, everyone suddenly disagrees about everything. That's not a people problem, it's a systems problem. Everybody on the job is working at their own setup. Your ERP, their spreadsheet, someone else's inbox. Change orders end up getting stuck in the middle of all of it. Well, ClearStory fixes that. It's a shared cloud-based change order log where GCs, specialty contractors, and owners all see the same information in real time, which is key. Subs submit and track their work. GCs stay on top of status. Owners see cost exposure before it becomes a surprise. No more digging through email trying to reconcile the logs at closeout. Just change orders under control, which is a unique concept. Check it out at clearstory.build.
So I know you have an AI class coming up. And maybe we can talk about that in a second. But maybe just to tease and also give me value right now. Okay. When you're using Claude, like chat
projects, skills, code. It seems like this like kind of stair step to intermediate level. But I think one of the challenges is projects is great for context capture, but skills are good to apply that context across chats. Where does Notion and your digital brain fit into that setup?
Into the skills setup?
Yeah, or any of
or
it.
into
just
I have it set up,
generally
I have it set up in my skills. So I have my skills set up so that they know where everything is at in Notion. Or it knows to go check
you're
Notion.
pointing your skills over to Notion.
Yes.
And so why wouldn't you just keep them in skills in Claude?
Because I want my skills to be able to communicate with each other.
And be more, is it like free flowing, dynamic? Because it's just this is easier to change rather than prompt. Like this is your database, this is your source of truth. Every time I interact, go back to this source of truth rather than having to update skills constantly. This is
in the master prompt within Anthropics, like that. It basically, like one of the first lines is, before you do anything, go check for a skill file.
Yeah.
See if there's a skill for it. And then it goes down to the next thing, right? Yeah. So if I can send a prompt and immediately feed it a skill.md or whatever it might be, it will go and check that. So what I've set up is to where I can set up a skill and basically oh gosh, guys, sorry, I'm getting excited. All right, so basically what I have set up here, Lars, is an orchestration layer. So I have the top layer, which is orchestrator, and then underneath of that, I have a bunch of sub skills, right, that will talk to it. And so what I found is if I could do it all within Claude, I couldn't get an orchestration skill to really work if I didn't have some other source of truth, right? So that's the reason why I went into a Notion.
I have felt that at some level.
Yeah. So that's why I leaned into this. So I started building out this first iteration and going like, oh my gosh, why is it not communicating? It needs like if my orchestrator skill, my project management skill essentially goes out and tries to ask one of my, sub skills, go out and create a blog. It's just like, it would just happen within one chat thread. So what I did is I set up the orchestrator to look first at Notion and push any sub skills outputs to Notion. So it just becomes that central brain for everything now. And it just kind of becomes more cohesive. Okay. All of that stuff is wrapped up into skills for me, Stephen. I don't use projects at all. Like I barely do.
That's good to know. So it's and so you're operating in either Claude Code or just the chat, referencing those skills?
Code, chat, co-work. I can reference those skills in Perplexity.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just not
because Perplexity now has skills, and so Perplexity Computer can activate those skills, which is pretty sweet.
Where do you store the skills? Do you store them in like a centralized folder so that all these
GitHub?
Yeah.
GitHub or on my local machine, because all it is a .md file. It's text. For those that are listening, it's just a text file.
Yeah.
That's it. With a list of instructions. That's it. Doesn't need to be scary. But I think for like project managers, going from company to company, that's a part of their like toolkit now. Like that's their toolbox that they bring with this, is like, I have a certain set of skills. It's kind of changing now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about like, well, what is that certain set of skills, right? You develop over your career, like, well, no, this is how I write an RFI. Right. Or this is how I review a submittal, or this is how I analyze a schedule, or balance a budget, or all of these things, right? Yeah. Skills, and you're basically training this to be your force multiplier to do it for you.
Yeah.
Correct? Yes. That's the 10x power right there.
Yes.
And once you get that structure set up, like, dude.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
So the CMO that I built, Stephen, if you want me to go into that, so yes. I kind of was like, well, what happens if I set up skills for each one of the C-suite of Fieldproof, right? Because again, then if I did need to hire somebody, I could just hand them those sets of skills and they're off and running. So I set up a CMO skill, which is the orchestration agent, the one at the top that runs all the others. And then underneath of that, I set up a AEO, so artificial intelligence engine optimization. It's the new version of SEO, right? So I have an AEO optimizer or analyzer, SEO analyzer. I have a blog writer. I have a LinkedIn writer. I have an image generation agent. I have a website optimizer, website copywriter, like all of these things underneath the CMO that the CMO can call on. And so what I set it up, and it really gets fun in Perplexity because it can call different models. So it can call Nano Banana in Perplexity, whereas in Claude, I can't. So I could go into Perplexity with that orchestration set of skills and say, hey, CMO, I need to plan out the month of May, my full content calendar. Hey, by the way, here's a transcript from the conversation I just had with Steven and Lars. Go create the content based off of that. And it will go and spin up all these different pieces of content for me out of that one prompt and feeding it the transcript. And it will push it up to, to Notion. The CMO will create a brief first in its first pass. It will get approval by me. And then it will say, hey, here's what we're going to create for the month of May. Any changes? I'll say, change this. It'll change it. And then when I say go, then it deploys the sub-agents. The sub-agents create all of the content and everything to a T of what I want to see. And then it will push it back up to Notion. And then because I'm using Perplexity, it can call Nano Banana and create an image.
I'm playing tic-tac-toe over here, and you're playing 5D chess. It's like I thought I was doing things, Lars.
He's in the world control room just with the red button.
I mean, this is so when Tyler and I first chat, I was like, man, you got to start a class for this.
So one thing that's overwhelming to me is, and I think this is true in the construction industry in general, it's like, how many apps are we dealing with on a daily basis? And you just listed off 5, 6, and yeah, I'm working here, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, so is it reasonable to expect that people need Perplexity, people need Claude, people need OpenAI, right? People need Notion, people need GitHub, okay, so now all of a sudden I just added $200 a month in my monthly overhead.
Yep.
But to achieve per person, that's correct.
Yeah, right.
But to achieve what you just described, yes, you need it and lean into it, because the way I've been viewing some things, it's like, okay, it transitioned over to Claude from OpenAI, but it's like I'm trying to look for is there that one perfect shoe, right? Is there that one perfect thing that I don't have to go to all these other places? And I think the answer is no, not really.
Oh, next year there will be.
Yeah, and so because it's moving so fast,
yeah.
Right?
So fast.
And again, that was the reason why I centralized everything back over to Notion. Because things are moving so fast.
I need it. Yeah.
I want to be able to play. I want to be able to explore and find new angles and new tools that.
But
can
I
do
need my
specific
database.
things.
I need my foundation.
Yes, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not going to use Claude for image generation. It's just not as good. Nano Banana is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But again, I'm like, I don't want to be landlocked. I want to be able to explore up here and then just have that foundation of all of my information, all of my data, and everything is stored in a safe spot that I can access at any point throughout the day. And I can bring other people into to access as well.
Yeah.
So would I set this type of thing up for a enterprise level user? No.
Yeah.
For a small shop like me, perfect. This is great.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at a Bechtel, no, come on, no, that's not going to work.
I mean, it does,
but there's a way to look at it that way.
But there's also just have a couple ninjas in your company that are just crush this category, and that 10x power can bleed everywhere.
Well, CEOs need to realize, okay, when you were first starting up a business, if you did start up the business, right? Think about what happened when you finally did hire that first person. And
why did I wait so long?
Right. You're like, oh my gosh, this person's amazing.
Yeah,
So you're basically giving everybody in your company that same feeling. Yeah. You're giving everybody in your company an executive assistant, essentially.
Love that.
Right? Yeah. What happens when you free your people up from all of the mundane bullcrap that the $10 an hour person could honestly do?
Yeah.
What happens then? Because they're focusing on higher value things like relationships.
We've been, dude, I literally just said that. We've been slaves to the computer, slaves to a keyboard, slaves to a monitor. And actually, it's actually gotten, I think, worse over the years. It's taken us away from building relationships and made us more, I'm just going to send emails to get it done, rather than, hey, I'm going to go meet someone. I'm going to go talk to them. I'm going to go see them. I'm going to go that human-to-human connection. So I actually, bold belief, it's like, there's really good components of AI because it's the mundane stuff that's, I think, holding us back, right?
Yeah.
And the mundane stuff isn't going away. So how can we do it faster? How can we do it quicker, more accurately, so that we can actually get time back to do this, to build the relationships, to manage risk from a human-to-human connection standpoint?
That's the stuff that's like, it's those human soft skills that, like, those aren't going to go away anytime soon. If you can free up your project manager to go out on site and be present with the people there, instead of them, let me like chasing phone calls, sending emails, because what happens? They're stressed. They're going to be an absolute jerk to the people around them, not intentionally, but because they're stressed out. If we can reduce that, the community, the relationship building, that's the stuff that, like, if I look back at my grandpa, who was a project manager over at Messer Construction, one of when he was building Millette Hall, they were talking about, or he was talking about how he and the architect had an amazing relationship with each other. It was just, they were friends. Yeah. And you think about, like, the pace of things, they were moving at a slower.
Yes.
They were moving at a slower pace, if that makes sense. Yeah. Right? They didn't have the email.
It was more methodical. It was more methodical.
But they got crap done. That's not to say they were slow.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just they were working in a different
We're distracted. It's like, how many messaging apps do you have?
Yes.
That's a problem, right? Yeah. How many did they have back in the day? I don't know. Maybe carbon copy and the phone.
Yeah.
Right? Mail, I guess. But just paper and phone. That was it.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I really appreciate about your approach is, I've been saying for a little bit, like, B2B is important. I think B2C is even more important because it gives the power to the people. And you're taking this approach of, from a consulting standpoint, you're bringing this knowledge into businesses where they can leverage this and grow. Yeah. But also through this AI class, you're bringing it to the individual. Talk a bit about what you're doing with just the instruction side of, you're a natural teacher. You're bringing that to the industry.
Well, Steven, I got to blame you a little bit, and I got to blame Troy DeGroot. Like, I talked to both of you guys, and you both were like, I showed you kind of what I was working on just personally, and you were like, dude, you got to teach this. And that kind of made me go, you know what, actually, that could be kind of fun. And so I'm not going to sit here and say this is like some grand scheme or anything, but, for me, I've been able to build my own business on this stuff, and now it's just a matter of, I put together a little cohort. It's going to be 10 people, and we're going to sit in a room and we're going to learn together, right? Like, we're going to, every other week we'll hop on for around 90 minutes and just geek out, and I'll show you what I've been building and kind of help the foundations get set of, like, okay, what are these, answer questions for the class, that sort of stuff. And hopefully by the end of it, the goal is that you're doing a lot of the stuff that I'm already doing. And it's unlocking in your brain how to think about these systems, right? And so I want to even have people come in and say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Okay, great.
Let's figure it out.
Let's build it right now. Yeah. Let's play. Like, and the whole class can learn together too. And, set up our little Slack channel to where, as we're building stuff, people can ask questions and we can have that community feedback and stuff. So, it's just communal learning. And so, I'm pretty stoked about it. So we'll see how this first one goes, and if it goes well, then there might be another one on the horizon. But this one's already, I think we've got like 4 spots left, but like all of those slots are pending right now too. Awesome. So like we could be basically completely filled by the end of this week. I launched it on Monday, so there's a hunger. There's a hunger for this type of information. And thankfully I've just ADHD'd myself right into a place where I've learned a lot of stuff, and I can apply that back to construction because I was a detailer for so many years, and
some Cal Newport deep work. So this has been a fun chat, Tyler. I know we gotta sign off here in a second. For the young folks that are in the field right now, but dabbling in ChatGPT or interacting with Claude, like, what's your message for them where they're like, man, there's such a huge divide between where I'm at and where he's at? What's your message to them?
Focus on one. I would say if you're using ChatGPT, let's upgrade that to Claude. That would be one step. Boom. That's your first step. Number 2 would be learn. At the end of the day, dude, like if you don't know how to do something, just ask it. Use it as a thought partner, not the thought leader, but as a thought partner. Right?
I like that.
If you're still thinking, hey, this is good for email, you have not gone deep enough.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I hear this again and again. People are like, oh, it's really good for email. Shut your mouth. It is better for so much else.
Shut your mouth.
It's great for email. Don't get me wrong. Like, we could use it for that. But like, there are other areas that we can use these tools to enhance our lives and reduce the scramble. So, I mean, start with the foundations of understanding what an LLM is, and then build from there. If you can get into the skills side of things, that'd be the next one. But again, like that's not that hard. Just do some digging. You'll be fine. And give me a call.
There you go. Well, Tyler, you're the man. Thanks for coming on, man.
Oh wait, I got one. You forgot about me, Steven.
You always take 6 minutes to ask the last question.
No, it's quick. This is a quick
30
one.
seconds.
Tyler, top 3 YouTube people that you look for advice on this sort of stuff.
Okay, so there's a guy named Nate Herc that I've been following. He does really good, like, up-to-date advice of, like, hey, Anthropic just released this. OpenAI just released this.
Okay.
He's
and
really
that's
great.
Herc with a K, H-E-R-K.
H-E-R-K, yeah. And then, what is his name? Put me on the spot here, Lars.
It's okay.
Hang on a second. I got to do some YouTube.
We'll put him in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put him in the show notes. I can find him. There's another guy that I follow that's a lot of fun, but he's a little bit more technical in nature. Not everybody would like him, I would think, but he's a lot of fun. Dude with a beard.
Okay. We'll put it in there.
All right, thanks again, Tyler.